And Rex Grossman is someone they've looked at, apparently, Tyler Thigpen. But somebody raised their hand on Twitter and tweeted out a photograph of himself as a North Kentucky river monster in lime green, saying, "I look good in green." And he's also played in the New York football market with the Giants.
You're about to witness the man who makes Big Ben look small. So in my video about David Tyree, here he is jogging off the field after that amazing catch. Well, the first person he runs into is the backup quarterback. That man was Lorenzen, aka the Hefty Lefty. By the way, this dude is literally the Jackie Moon of indoor football. I'll explain that later. Lorenzen played college ball at the University of Kentucky. He was actually the predecessor to the former #1 overall pick, Tim Couch. The Hefty Lefty's freshman year, he weighed in at 308 pounds before the season, and the coach wouldn't allow him to play until he was under 268 pounds. He eventually slimmed down, and 4 years later, he would go on to break a bunch of school passing records, but it wasn't enough to get the man drafted. He did sign as an undrafted free agent for the New York Giants. When he signed, he was a big dude at the time, 6'4", 285. You don't see too many quarterbacks weighing in at that size. I mean, Jamarcus Russell was only 260. Well, his career in the NFL didn't amount to much. He does have a Super Bowl ring, but as far as his playing time in his NFL career, his very first NFL play was a QB sneak on 3rd and 1. His second career play, the exact same thing. He was basically put out there to move the pile, and so Eli Manning wouldn't get hurt. He only played in 4 NFL games. His passing stats for his career, he was only 4 of 8 for 28 yards. No touchdowns or interceptions. Pardon the bad quality, but the play of his career was probably this.
With some shiftiness across. Look at Lorenzen downfield trying to throw a block.
Show up in your picture. Look at him sprint here. He's catching him all the way.
After the Giants won the Super Bowl, they ended up cutting Lorenzen. The biggest problem was he couldn't keep his weight under control.
Everybody knows Coach Coughlin. He's kind of stickler about some certain things. Well, I got a funny story. Finally, we get our food at the end of the day. We get ourselves some big old chicken breasts, fried chicken, mashed potatoes. And they got them in bags for us. Well, I pick up my bag and I'm walking back out the locker room, and Coach happened to be walking by the same time I was. Grabbed my bag, looked at me, laughed, told me I wasn't allowed to have it. I was too big.
Tom Coughlin, the Giants' coach, had weight limits for every player. The fine would be $400 a day for every pound they went over. Lorenzen's limit was 292. Weigh-ins were on Friday, so Lorenzen wouldn't eat on Thursday. He would spit in a bottle all day to get rid of water weight. And on Friday morning, he would put on 5 shirts and a hoodie, plus 2 pairs of shorts and 2 pairs of sweatpants. He would then bake in a sauna and basically kill himself on an elliptical machine, and he would barely make weight. After the Giants cut him, the Colts looked to give him a chance, but when he stepped on the scale, he weighed in at 303 pounds. Cam Newton weighs about 50 pounds lighter than that, and the average NFL lineman weighs only 10 pounds heavier than he did at the time. Well, he never played for the Colts, so his NFL career was over. But this is where the story really gets interesting. Here is where Lorenzen relates to Jackie Moon. Even if you don't know who that is, it's still pretty funny. In 2011, the Ultimate Indoor Football League was trying to make a name for itself. So the dude became a GM of the Northern Kentucky River Monsters. And while he was putting together his team, he was having a hard time finding a quarterback. Well, the GM of the River Monsters would also be suiting up as the team's quarterback. 14 games and 81 touchdowns later, he was named the league MVP. And shortly after this dominant season, he was named commissioner of the league. Wow. Imagine a Roger Goodell, Jerry Jones, Matt Ryan hybrid. I mean, it is only a semi-pro league, but it's still pretty crazy. Honestly, that would be a pretty sweet gig. To be honest, the Pillsbury Throwboy could move. He was pretty nimble, but he got huge after his NFL career. He was listed on the team's roster at 320 pounds, yet every single report I read online said he weighed a lot more than that. He apparently hadn't stepped on a scale since he was in the NFL a few years back. Sadly, later on, the Hefty Lefty's career would abruptly end after suffering an injury. But his legend lives on as the heaviest quarterback to ever play in the NFL. When he played for the Giants and they played in a stadium he'd never been to, he would take a ball in warm-ups and fire it into the upper deck. He hoped somebody up there would remember him. As a college football Hall of Famer for his accolades at Kentucky, and after going viral for his highlights for the River Monsters, he will definitely be remembered.